Welcome to Friday. It's January 15th, 2021. Well, what a windstorm many areas of the region have endured over the last 2 to 3 days. Not everybody, but if you live in eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, western South Dakota, northeastern Colorado, western Kansas, you're still going to be buffeted by high winds today, as we have a pretty powerful storm that's in the Midwest right now. They've got blizzard conditions across Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of the eastern Dakotas, and extreme northeast Nebraska. And that's the same system that came through here earlier in the week, causing the 100-mile-per-hour winds. It's now blown up into a blizzard in the upper Midwest. So we're going to have to suffer from more wind. Now, several features will come through this weekend that'll bring some snow to the mountain. So skiers and snowmobilers, you're going to get a little bit of snow coming your way. It's going to be snow showers, maybe a couple on the plains. But again, the plains, as we've seen all winter, really won't get much out of this. It's the same old story through this weekend with the weather pattern. We do see active weather next week, coast to coast and across the west. Major model mayhem in the long term. This is to be expected. With this big shift in the northern hemisphere going on, our long-range models are having a really difficult time. They look different every day. What you want to do is see similarities when you look out to 5 to 7 to 10 days. So stay tuned. We're going to have a very variable forecast, but the weather pattern certainly is going to be more active. This is where we are today. Here's your deep storm centered over central Illinois, and the blizzard conditions are in this area right here. On the northwest side of the storm is where you usually see the worst of the weather, on the northwest side of the low, and that's where it's going to be. But you can really see these strong jet stream winds coming in behind the system, dragging in some chilly air. So it's going to still be really, really windy in this area today on the back side of the storm. Now, the storm will move into the upper Great Lakes, causing lake effect snows and wintry weather up there. A more mild flow of air comes on in, but you see these little ripples? They don't look like much. There's a little ripple here. This little guy right here is actually going to slide in behind the low tonight and Saturday morning, bringing a quick shot of snow to the mountains. So late tonight and Saturday morning, the mountains of Wyoming, Montana, eastern Idaho, and Colorado will get a quick shot of snow. There's another wave comes in behind it. This is overnight Sunday into Monday morning. This will bring another shot of mountain snow, snow showers on the plains, and some chilly air coming in behind it, but not Arctic air. The Arctic air is still staying away from us for a little bit longer. With this trough coming on in early next week, we can expect more mountain snow. And here's the forecast of snow through Tuesday afternoon. Now, along I-90, up here in southern Montana and northeastern Wyoming, there's a little bit of a better chance for accumulating snow. But once again, as we've seen all winter, you can see all the purple and the blues mostly centered over the major mountain ranges, with only light amounts of snow reaching the plains. Classic La Nina trends continue at least into early next week. At least skiers and snowmobilers, you're going to get some fresh snow out of this pattern between now and Monday. Now, going further out, this is where things get a little crazy, as you'd expect with a major weather pattern change. This is the upper level forecast for Thursday morning. Generally speaking, we have a broad ridge of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska and off the East Coast, which opens the door to Canada and allows the colder air on in. And you can see the blue here. You can see the really cold air beginning to build. We've got another real vortex of cold that's up here that's going to want to come down like this. Where the models are going to have a difficult time is you see these little lows spinning off. Well, what will happen sometimes is one of these lows may end up coming down into Southern California or off the coast or into the area right here. And what tends to happen is the model will want to gravitate and take the next storm out of Canada and pull it into the eastern Pacific. And what could end up happening is the jet stream could end up looking like that, keeping the low here, then keeping the really cold Arctic air up here and away from us. But what usually happens is this basic jet stream flow like this gets going. But what's going to happen is these little guys right here are going to mess up the models. And as we get into next week, I think our forecast is going to be very changeable. Timing of systems, how cold it will get is really going to be dictated by these little lows here spinning off the main jet stream and having a real difficult time and kind of giving us a battle in the models. So when we update you with the podcast on Monday, should be interesting to see what unfolds in the longer term as we're now entering that phase change coming next week and the week beyond. As you can see, as we look forward out a little further to next weekend, we've got another low diving south. We've got another one here, and the broad area of low pressure is going to be forming into the western United States with this really big vortex of cold taking shape. And really, there's a lot of cold air right here, but still notice the Arctic air is still having a hard time getting into the U.S., penetrating south. Again, that's something we see in La Nina. So it's going to be a war between the Arctic air up here and the more mild Pacific air here as we get into next week, especially late next week and next weekend. Who wins the battle is something that the models are really struggling with as we go forward. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.